We've been dealing with severe thunderstorms rolling across the area throughout the day today, of course, fed by the intense heat and humidity that we dealt with earlier in the day. It looks like this could be a little bit of a radar signature, which we would call an inflow notch around the Roebling area, and then the tornado could potentially just be south of that, so it will be potentially positioned just east of Willingboro, moving east. New Hanover also in this tornado warning, North Hanover, Route 68 as it continues to move eastbound at about 45 miles per hour. So that's a pretty fast pace. We also have the threat, even if we don't have a tornado on the ground, the potential for damaging winds in excess of 70, potentially even 80 mile per hour straight line winds, which could do considerable damage. We've also had reports throughout the evening of wind damage, of trees down, branches down, as well as flash flooding across the area, because we're dealing with this near torrential rainfall embedded within this line that continues to move across the area, crossing the I-95 corridor and moving now into South Jersey. So we'll put this into motion. You can see all of that lightning embedded within the cell here. We'll try to take the lightning off so you can get a better look at where exactly we're seeing the strongest portion of this cell right now. So we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect and multiple flash flood warnings, i.e., please stay home. Please do not go out in the roadways. But our primary concern right now is going to be our tornado warning just north of Pemberton in Burlington County. Cell is moving east at 45 miles per hour, the leading edge crossing over 206 as we speak. So on the back edge of this, Mount Holly, Willingboro, Lumberton, even in these areas, you need to be seeking safe shelter, certainly upwind of this cell in the New Hanover area. If you live in and around, there's Fort Dix. You need to be going to the lowest level of your home or whatever sturdy building you're located in. Want to stay away from windows. Also, if you're located in a mobile home, you need to seek a sturdy shelter outside of that mobile home because they do not fare well in tornadic winds. So again, we'll repeat, we have a tornado warning in effect right now for southeastern Burlington County, or excuse me, northeastern Burlington County and east central Burlington County until 10:45 as issued by the National Weather Service. So please take cover immediately. A warning means that a tornado is imminent or occurring. This is no longer any watch situation, so you need to be taking action immediately. So this is a warning area where you see this bright red box. And then all of these colors here, the reflectivity coming through Burlington, heavy rain moving through Mount Laurel, that's indicative of the rainfall that's moving in. Also shows you a little bit of a wind profile, how that line is kind of bowing out a little bit and pushing up into that tornado warning would indicate that there are likely strong, intense, and possibly damaging winds embedded within this severe thunderstorm that has popped off at this point, a tornado warning. So we'll take a look at some of the towns and see if we can get a couple of more towns to pop up here in this tornado warning. Also upwind, Ocean County and Monmouth County as well. A little portion of those counties where they come together is within the tornado warning. Again, that bright red box that we're honing in on right now. So I'm just going to leave this here and show you it's continuing to move east, crossing over 206, moving towards New Hanover. If you are in this area, you want to seek safe shelter immediately. I'm going to quick check the National Weather Service chat to see if we have any kind of damage reports or ground truth. They have continued the tornado warning as of 3 minutes ago, so they still believe there is a threat for a potential tornado on the ground and or damaging winds within the severe thunderstorm that's moving itself right now through eastern portions of Burlington County, just north of Pemberton and Browns Mills, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So the threat has not yet dissipated. The National Weather Service has decided to continue this tornado warning. Again, we have no visual confirmation, but there is rotation on radar. Actually, I'm going to move over.
And you know what, Lauren, I will add there, I grew up right in that area, so that's a heavily wooded area. Whether you're talking a possible tornado or straight line winds, I mean, with all the rain we've had, that could weaken root systems in the ground. And when your home is amongst those trees, I mean, that can be a dangerous situation. You mentioned a basement. So if somebody's watching this right now and they know somebody who lives in the area is maybe sleeping right now, would it be a good idea, Lauren, for them to call and say, there is a tornado warning in your area.
Absolutely, 100%. You never want to take the risk of not acting immediately. We've seen the frequency of tornadic activity, particularly in New Jersey, over the last several years really start to increase. And we've seen what kind of damage a tornado can cause. Even a low-end tornado, an EF0, an EF1, can cause considerable damage locally. You do not want that to be your house. You do not want to take the chance of having a tornado that is on the ground and impacting your neighborhood, because it can happen. So that's a good point, Alex. And we have this tornado warning that is in effect for eastern portions of Burlington County. I was looking to see, it looks like the strongest wind activity right now would be in the Springfield, Wrightstown, Fort Dix, McGuire Air Force Base area. So
that is residential as well as having a military base there in that area. And it's a relatively flat area. I can imagine that would not do anything to prevent winds from picking up speed. We were talking about letting your friends and family know who might be in this impacted region about this. I had just texted my parents. Now, they're in Lumberton. That's where I grew up. This box is just north of that, but it's still very nearby. And when Lauren once again was talking about winds, those can impact a wider area. But Lauren mentioned this is a tornado warning, not a watch. And that means that something has either been spotted on the ground or on radar. So this is a serious thing. When you're seeing this and you're wondering why are we continuing long in this show, this is why, is that people will be impacted by this in one way or the other, and preparation is key. You want to stay away from windows, as Lauren mentioned. If you have a basement, it's a good time to go there just to ride this out. The National Weather Service at last update, Lauren said, through for 5 more minutes here. So we are now covering live a tornado warning for northeast Burlington County. This is an area heavily wooded. Lots of rain has left this ground very vulnerable to trees toppling and high winds. So even if a tornado is not spotted in your direct area, still be very cautious of trees and limbs and anything that could fall right now, given how soggy the ground has been. But as we've been saying, this is the kind of situation where you want to reach out to a loved one who might be sleeping right now and let them know that this is serious, and take shelter if need be if you're in this red box right here in northeastern Burlington County.
Absolutely, Alex. Yeah, I know when I go to bed, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. But I have that override setting, as many of us do. If one of your favorites calls you multiple times, it will override that. So right now, if you have someone that you love, one of your friends in northeastern Burlington County, you need to override their DND and make sure they are seeking safe shelter, because we still do have this tornado warning ongoing for about the next 9 minutes. Additionally, again, as we were saying, even if there's not a tornado on the ground, rotational wind, we can still have damaging straight line winds, and that is evident on the radar from about Bordentown to Chesterfield to McGuire Air Force Base to Fort Dix, even just north of Browns Mills. There is strong, intense winds occurring within this line. So that is for sure. Then we are secondarily or also concerned about the possibility of a tornado within this line as well. So multiple hazards, as Alex mentioned. We've been dealing with the flash flooding threat as well. So that's exacerbating this wind damage threat because the ground is so saturated. We had those flooding rains just a few days ago, and now we're adding to that 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in a short period of time. So that can compromise trees. Then trees can fall on your home, on your vehicle, that can compromise wires. We could be seeing power outages. But the main priority, again, is this now tornado warning that is in effect for a portion of Burlington County. We'll see if we can put a little tracker on this. It's about to move.
Yeah, that was my question, Lauren. When we see this red outline here, does that mean it will stop at this point and weaken, or is this just a projection of where it might go?
Correct. So the bright red box is going to be the tornado warning area. So that's the area of most concern where we could see those tornadic winds moving through. Then where you're seeing kind of like the bright red blobs, that is going to be the very heavy rainfall. But also we can tell by kind of the shapes those blobs take on what's going on wind-wise within that severe thunderstorm or line of severe thunderstorms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
It does. I appreciate that. I mean, there's a lot about looking at these, and we see these happen every once in a while, and people at home, if you've never been impacted by a tornado, it's easy to say, okay, wow, this is taking over my TV right now. I know there's a lot of lightning and whatnot. We're seeing that all over the screen. But I have to tell you, my in-laws, their home was completely destroyed, completely lost. Thankfully, their lives were saved, but they lost their home to a tornado.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is serious stuff, and if you live in this box, it's important to pay attention right now. And Route 206, I mean, it is heavily wooded, but still heavily traveled, 2-lane highway. That could be a dangerous situation to be driving right now in this kind of weather. So hopefully people had heeded your earlier warnings, Lauren, and are sitting this out at a safe place within their home.
Absolutely, yeah. Right now, torrential rain coming down in and around the Bordentown area, down into Chesterfield, over the Jersey Turnpike, over 295, over 206, over Route 130. So heavily trafficked roads. Hopefully, yes, everyone is just at home. It's a Saturday night. We're dealing with multiple hazards. We have a tornado warning for eastern portions of Burlington County. It does look like they have extended the tornado warning now into portions of Ocean and Monmouth counties. So they believe that the threat is ongoing within this severe thunderstorm for the potential of a tornado. So you can see where that red box has been expanded up into, we'll kind of pan you out a little bit. You can see Ocean County where Toms River is, and then up into Jackson, and then Monmouth County. So that secondary tornado warning that they just issued rides kind of right along the border of Monmouth and Ocean counties. So the leading edge, or the cellar, the severe thunderstorm that we're most concerned about is about to exit Burlington County right now. But if you're positioned right on the line there, right on the line of Monmouth County, Ocean County, and Burlington County, you want to be in your safe shelter right now. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning that could be capable of producing a tornado is moving east at 45 miles per hour.
Okay, 45 miles per hour. So is that fast, Lauren, in terms of a tornado?
That's a good question. I mean, when you're contending with a tornado, every second is going to count, so you want to be able to seek safe shelter immediately. As far as storm motion is 45 miles per hour. Quick, I would say it's probably about average speed, forward speed for a thunderstorm. Let's see, I'm checking the National Weather Service chat. So severe thunderstorm or tornado warning until 11:15 for Burlington, Monmouth, and Ocean County. So that's the extension of this tornado warning. So you can see just of the new tornado warning, there's just a little piece of the warning in Burlington County, just southeast of Chesterfield in the North Hanover area. You're remaining under this tornado warning until 11:15, but this is coming through for you really as we speak, and then we'll cross over into Monmouth and Ocean counties as we head into about the next minute or two. So you can see the radar refreshing there a little bit.
And we just want to introduce everybody who is tuning in on CBS3 right now. We are continuing our coverage of an active tornado warning that started in northeast Burlington County. It is so far tracked, and this area has expanded, this red area that you're seeing on your screen, to include parts of Ocean, is that right, and Monmouth County, Lauren?
That's correct, until 11:15. So this will start to move out of Burlington County, so we'll see the threat end there the soonest. But if you are in that area of this new extended tornado warning, so that's going to be the North Hanover area, Chesterfield area. It looks like I can see on my personal device there's some very intense winds occurring right there. Just north of McGuire Air Force Base, New Egypt, looks like it's about to see some pretty nasty winds coming on in if you're not already seeing them already. So again, we talked about even if we don't have a tornado or we don't have a tornado on the ground, we're still dealing with strong and potentially damaging winds embedded within this severe thunderstorm and this line of severe thunderstorms. We've had multiple reports of downed trees as this air has crossed the region over the last several hours, Alex.
Yeah, and we have mentioned over and over again, but I always think it's important because even when I hear it, I kind of have to go back and forth in my brain. You have a tornado watch, which is just, you know, you're kind of looking out in my layman's terms. But this is a tornado warning. What we are on air right now to explain, that is where conditions, or there has has been one appearing on radar or has been seen on the ground. So this means that a tornado is imminent, and that those people living in the northeastern Burlington County, Ocean, Monmouth County, and the areas you're seeing there need to take shelter. It is a very serious weather event, and as Lauren mentioned, high winds are also a byproduct, even if a tornado does not touch down where you live. This area that you're seeing right here, this is more central in the New Jersey area, and this is flat, it's heavily wooded, and with all of the rain that we have seen, that can be ripe for a tree to fall. I mean, that means its root systems are no longer supported by the soil around it. And so you have to be, when you think about that safe place in your home, think of a spot in case a tree were to fall. And it sounds scary because it is sometimes.
It is, and it can be scary, but it can be scary, but let that motivate you to seek safe shelter. You want to move to the lowest level of your home, the most interior room. Basement is the best place. If you don't have a basement, an interior bathroom, an interior closet, you want to stay away from windows in this case, because we're dealing with the potential and or the likelihood of damaging winds. They may be straight line winds, or we do have the potential of a tornado being on the ground as well, where there has been no ground confirmation yet, but that doesn't mean that we can't assume that it is on the ground. But we do have some rotation indicated on radar. So the rotation is there. It's just the question is the rotation reaching the ground. So, and we're also dealing with those damaging winds embedded within the line secondary to this tornadic potential. We're also dealing with near torrential rainfall, near continuous lightning. So it is a really good evening to just stay inside. I put the storm tracker on there. You can see as the cell that we're concerned about moves itself into Monmouth and Ocean counties as we head into about the next 30 minutes or so. So around Prospertown at 10:50, Leesville 10:56, 11 p.m. in the Jackson area. So it's starting to now move out of Burlington County and will become a Monmouth Ocean County concern as we head into about the next couple of minutes. But again, we've already seen some reports of water rescues due to flash flood warnings. We do have a flash flood warning in effect for the entire urban corridor from Wilmington to Philly to Trenton. So if you could stay off the roads, please do so. If you encounter floodwaters, turn around, don't drown, never drive into flooded waters. It only takes 6 inches of fast-moving water to stall out your car, Alex, 12 inches of fast-moving water to completely move your car. So even if you're not putting your safety in jeopardy, it's a really bad day if you ruin your car.
Oh yeah, you'll stall out, and we've been on plenty of stories where we have seen, and our cameras have been rolling when people try to go through some still standing water thinking it wasn't as deep as it was. And we've been talking about this tornado warning, but as Lauren is showing you in this radar, I mean, we have severe weather activity all across the region. That means driving conditions are just no good. I mean, there's no good reason to be out in any of this right now, especially if you're in south central New Jersey right now. We had a lot of people down at the shore. Hopefully nobody who had decided to come back. There's no reason for that, because it is these shore routes right now that are being impacted by a lot of the severe weather and this tornado warning. In many ways, the area impacted right now, or that had been impacted, somewhat rural, which is good in some ways and bad in others, once again, because of all of the tree cover that's out in this central area of New Jersey right here. I think we have passed by Fort Dix at this time. But it continues into Monmouth and Ocean County, and the threat does remain. So we've been saying, if you know somebody who goes to bed early, maybe they're not watching right now, send them a text, just send them that reminder. And it's always a good reason for them to think towards next time, even if they've moved, they're behind this danger zone at this point, to think of where they would go if they don't have a basement. Is it an interior bathroom? That's what my in-laws used when their home was destroyed by a tornado in 2015. They were in an interior bathroom, and that was the only part of their home that remained. So we are continuing to watch here. This red box is showing where this tornado warning is still active. Now for Ocean and Monmouth counties, we were focusing on northeastern Burlington County, but this has drifted off to the east at this point, moving 45 miles per hour, according to Lauren. And it's a scary thing, especially at night. You don't really know what's coming, but we do know that we've had lots of heavy rain, lightning, and potential for flooding still.
Absolutely, yeah. We certainly have an environment supportive of severe weather today. We had, of course, all of the heat and humidity is the fuel for thunderstorms. So this line came in and then fed off of that heat and humidity, and you can still see frequent to numerous lightning strikes within this portion of the line of severe thunderstorms working itself through portions of South and Central Jersey at this point. A tornado warning remained in effect for 11:15 for portions of Monmouth and Ocean counties. But even if we pan down, we have more strong storm activity ongoing across portions of Delaware that's tracking northeast bound. Look at this over the portions of Delmarva. More storms flaring up. Look how quickly they develop in this environment, just popping up out of nowhere and becoming strong to potentially severe, packed with lightning. And all of this that we're looking at over Delaware and portions of Maryland is going to track right into South Jersey as we head into the next couple of hours. So in PA, really, conditions have cleared up tremendously. You're still dealing with some areas of rainfall, but as far as the Lehigh Valley, Berks County, far northwestern suburbs is concerned, you are out of the severe weather potential. South Jersey, you are not out of the severe weather potential. And in and around Philadelphia, we still have some pockets of heavy rain and quite a bit of lightning. So you really want to stay inside at this point. But the main focus, again, is this now tornado warning that has now been allowed to expire for Burlington County. And it does remain in effect right now, looks like, for Ocean County until 11:15, Jackson and 195 in Ocean County under this tornado warning that does remain in effect, but still dealing with heavy rainfall, strong gusty winds from Trenton down into Pemberton and eastern portions of Burlington County. And we still do have the threat of more cells firing up, and we're watching that activity pulling out of Delaware as well. Flash flood warning remains in effect for Philadelphia proper up and down the I-95 corridor. That's in effect until 2 a.m. So please, if you could stay home, please do so. That's going to be your best bet to avoiding any safety concerns for yourself and your family members.
And you know what, let's talk about lightning for a second, because I will tell you, Lauren, my mind has been completely changed on how I look at lightning. It was just a couple of weeks ago, I was covering a story. It was out of Burlington County. It was extremely sad, a devastating story about a golfer who was running for cover in Burlington County at a golf course, and he was struck and killed by lightning. And it came out of nowhere because we were en route to that area at the time to look at potential for storms. But it was a bolt of lightning, and he was 70 years old, and it was really sad. And I think about that every time we have the threat of lightning in this area, because it only takes a second. And once again, if you're just tuning in, we have been covering a tornado warning that has been extending across south central New Jersey, started in northeastern Burlington County, and that threat in Burlington County has now expired. We are now looking into what I believe is Ocean County with this tornado at last report moving the tornado warning. This was moving 45 miles an hour to the east. So now we're getting into the area of almost shore towns at this point. I'm no weather expert. That's Lauren's position right there. I don't know what happens, Lauren, if this continues out to sea. I mean, if it continues on this track, what happens then? Is that a thing?
I mean, it's definitely, it's a possibility. Really, the main component is going to be that thunderstorm, that rotating thunderstorm that could be producing this tornado that we're concerned about with this tornado warning that is in effect for Ocean and a small portion of Monmouth counties for about the next 20 minutes or so. So we do have the time tracker on here. Woodare Estates looking at about 10:55 and Jackson 11 o'clock for the timing of the severe thunderstorm that could be producing tornadic activity. Just checking in on the National Weather Service storm reports. We do have some trees uprooted and down trees being reported in the Tacony area, also in Mount Laurel, where we did see some of the stronger activity. This tornado warning popped up actually not too far from Mount Laurel in the Jacksonville areas where the tornado warning began when it was first issued for Burlington County at 10:22 earlier this evening. So we do have some reports of some downed trees. We keep emphasizing the fact that even if we're not dealing with a tornado, still damaging winds are a possibility and a likelihood within this severe thunderstorm. And that continues to move east across South Jersey at this hour. And Alex, you made a good point of the lightning strike and how careful you just really do have to be around lightning. Now, you know, people use that as a metaphor, like lightning striking, like it's such a rarity. And it is a rarity for most people. Is it going to happen to you? You know, the likelihood is not. But it could happen to you. And it does happen to people, so you don't want to take the chance. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, we always are very careful when we're out in those live trucks and, you know, we have our satellite dish up or we have the mast in the air. I mean, that could be a lightning rod right there. So we make sure that's never the case in any kind of severe weather. But we are dealing with severe weather all throughout the region. The focus, again, right now on the south central New Jersey areas here, mainly at this point, Ocean County, where a tornado warning is still in effect, not a watch. A watch is essentially looking out for any kind of tornadic activity because the conditions could lead to that. But a warning does indicate that the severe weather is imminent in this area, and it just kind of depends on how and where that takes place and develops. So we're moving into, so we're at Jackson right now. It looks like at the center of this warning. It's interesting to me, Lauren, how it kind of takes a different shape there, this red outlined area. But that is the area where if you know anybody who lives there and who needs to be informed of heading to a safe place, please do let them know. That's our job here, is to make sure that people know what is happening around them, and that is what we're trying to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And the polygon, it does take shape because the National Weather Service is trying to really focus in on the specific areas that are under that specific threat for possible tornadic activity. They don't want to overwarn people or warn people, you know, outside of the area of main concern because they don't want to initiate warning fatigue. So when you hear a warning and you're like, oh yeah, I hear a warning all the time. So that's one of the care they take in issuing these tornado warnings, is they look at it from all angles. So, but we do have this tornado warning. It has been extended. It was first issued in Burlington County, has now been stretched out into Ocean and Monmouth counties. Oh, and it was just dropped. So that is good news. So no longer likely seeing rotation within, or enough rotation or strong enough rotation within the severe thunderstorm to warrant a tornado warning. It has been allowed to expire or canceled by the National Weather Service for Ocean County right now. Burlington County, you are in the clear at this moment from the tornadic threat. But again, you're still dealing with near torrential rainfall, nearly continuous lightning, that potential for flash flooding and severe thunderstorm activity. But at this time, no tornado warnings now remain in effect.
And we will have to wait, though, to see any kind of damage that may be reported to us. That's another component of understanding how severe weather has been, is when people wake up in the morning and realize, wow, this big old tree in my yard was uprooted because the ground was really damp from recent rain. And even if it wasn't a tornado, you know, high winds had caused this. So we will have to wait and see what kind of damage that this entire storm system brings, because it has been across our entire region. Looking out at these cameras, because we're here in the studio, I mean, it has been a complete light show. So lightning, flash flood warnings, Lauren, you've been dealing with it all.
Yeah, Alex, these cells extremely powerful. We had that severe thunderstorm watch in effect, which came into effect earlier today to give everyone a heads up, and for good cause. Almost everyone today touched by strong or severe weather across the Delaware and Lehigh valleys. But again, the threat's starting to wane, especially for our PA suburbs. Still have to keep a close eye on portions of South Jersey and Delaware as we head into the next couple of hours. But really by about midnight, 1 a.m., the severe weather threat will come to an end, thankfully, for everyone, Alex.
And it sounds like cooler temperatures on the back end of this. Is that how this all works?
Yeah, as we head into the day tomorrow, we will see some cooler and drier air filter in, and it will be a much quieter day at that as well.
Okay, Lauren, we so appreciate it. It's so important to stay updated. And when we get on air and you see all of this happening and you even say to yourself, I don't live out there, okay, it's always a good idea for you to practice what you would do when that little box might end up in your neighborhood or in your county, and your plan for safety. But there's a lot to think about in terms of safety. We have standing water that could be an issue if you're driving at all at night, which we don't ask you to do this evening. It's that standing water that could be really risky to just about everyone, I would imagine, this evening. Was there any dry spot in our region, Lauren?
Doesn't appear so as far as Doppler radar estimates so far, but yeah, that's a great point, Alex. Tonight is a perfect movie night, board game night, book night, binge watching night. Just stay home. Don't put yourself in the situation where you have to encounter a flooded roadway and have to think about what to do. And also a great tip, if you're not under the warning, practice what you would do, because you do want to have a semblance of a plan, because you don't want to panic when that tornado warning is issued for your neighborhood. We're taking a look at Storm Scan 3 right now. We have no tornado warnings in effect, so I think at this point we're going to go back to programming. Of course, we'll keep you up to date if we do have another tornado warning that is issued from the National Weather Service, but until then, we'll send you back to programming. Tune in to CBS 3. Well, we're right here. We're about to start the 11 o'clock news about 2 minutes from now, so we'll be right back with you. Stay safe.